Aladdin's mouth fell open, amazed. He mumbled, "Yes, of course," as more than anything he wanted to get out of the cave and go home. The very next moment, Aladdin was outside his home, still holding the lamp, and with all the jewel fruits still in his pockets. His mother could not believe what her son told her. "You tell me that's a magic lamp?" She laughed. "That old thing." She took the lamp, grabbed a rag, and started to clean it. "If there were really a genie in this old lamp, I would say to it, 'Genie, make a feast for my son and me, and serve it on plates of gold.'" You can imagine the mother's surprise, for the genie rose up out of the lamp and said in a booming voice, "Master, your wish is my command." At once, a feast fit for a king weighed down her kitchen table, on plates of glimmering gold. Mother and son enjoyed this feast like no other. The mother washed and sold the gold plates, and bought necessary things to live. From then on, Aladdin and his mother lived well. One day, Aladdin thought to himself, "Why think small? With all the jewel fruits I have, I could marry the princess herself, and become the prince of this land." His mother laughed. "You can't just go to a palace with some fine gifts and expect to marry a princess." But Aladdin wrapped some of the jewel fruits in silk cloth, and went off to the palace anyway. The guard stopped Aladdin. He insisted he had something very valuable for the Sultan, and so they let him in. The guard stopped Aladdin. Said the Sultan, "What have you brought me that you say is so valuable?" Aladdin showed the Sultan the jewel fruits. The Sultan was impressed. "If you are as worthy of my daughter as you say, you must bring me 40 golden trays of the same gems, carried in by servants." Aladdin went home and told his mother of the Sultan's demand. "It's no problem," said she. "I still have 2 more wishes. I will call for the genie." So she rubbed the lamp and made her second wish. Before long, Aladdin was again at the steps of the Sultan's palace. This time with 40 golden trays of the jewel fruits, carried in by as many servants. The Sultan was pleased. "But you cannot think this is enough to win the hand of my daughter," he said. "To truly win my favor, you must build a golden palace for my daughter and you to live." Aladdin brought back this news too, to his mother. So for her third wish, the mother asked the genie to create a golden palace. The next morning, right outside the Sultan's bedroom, appeared a huge golden palace, gleaming in the sun. Meanwhile, back at Aladdin's home, his mother said, "It is time for you to go, my son, to meet your princess." Her wishes spent, she gave him the lamp. The next morning, the Sultan called for his daughter. "Look at this palace," he said, pointing out the window. "This is the husband for you." "Because of this palace?" said his daughter. "Have you even met this man?" "Why bother?" said the Sultan. "He can make a golden palace appear overnight. He's even more powerful than my royal advisor, the vizier." "Why bother?" said the Sultan. "He can make a golden palace appear overnight. Why is being powerful all that matters?" said the princess. "Yesterday, your vizier was most powerful man in the kingdom, and I was to marry him. Today, the stranger is the most powerful man, and I'm to marry him. Why do you think it matters to me who is most powerful? I am your father, the Sultan of this land." He roared. "I say you will marry him." The princess threw up her arms in despair. "It's no use." In her dressing room, the princess groaned. To Nadia, her lady-in-waiting, she said, "My father is determined to marry me off, no matter what. To one powerful man or another, he hardly cares who he is." "But, madam," said Nadia, "isn't this wonderful new stranger an excellent match?" "But, madam," said Nadia, "isn't this wonderful new stranger an excellent match?" The princess looked at her lady-in-waiting. "You don't know how lucky you are," she said. "I would rather live your life than be handed off in this way." "And I would rather live yours," said Nadia. The two of them stared at each other for a couple of moments. They were about the same height, and had about the same color hair. "With all the scarves that maidens like them wore, let's do it," they said together. The two of them changed clothes. At that very moment, Aladdin was riding to the Sultan's palace on a white horse, ready to meet his bride. The Sultan warmly greeted him. "Stay here in my palace until the preparations for your wedding are complete," he said. As tradition held, Aladdin could not meet the princess until their wedding day. He caught a glimpse of Nadia from a distance, covered in scarves, thinking she was the true princess. Aladdin, the Sultan, and everyone else in the palace waited with growing excitement for the wedding day. Except for one, the uncle magician who had left Aladdin trapped in the cave, was also the Sultan's vizier. Except for one dot in court, he recognized Aladdin at once. He knew there could be only one reason the young man could present all this magic to the Sultan. Aladdin must have somehow escaped from the cave with the lamp. "I will get my revenge," swore the vizier. "If anyone is to have the lamp, it is me." By his magic, he could tell where Aladdin had hidden the lamp. When Aladdin was sleeping, the vizier crept in and stole it. In a quiet place, the vizier made his first wish. "Genie, do as I say. I want you to take Aladdin's palace to a faraway place in the desert that no one can find." What the vizier did not know was at that very moment, Nadia was inside Aladdin's palace, exploring it. And there is something else the vizier did not know. The genie thought the vizier had commanded to be taken far away, too, along with the palace. So the genie sent the vizier, the golden palace, and Nadia, all together to a faraway desert. The next morning, the Sultan awoke and saw nothing outside his bedroom window where Aladdin's palace had stood the day before. The next moment his servants rushed in, announcing that the princess was gone. Furious, he called for Aladdin. "What have you done?" the father yelled in a rage. "Because of your magic tricks I have lost my daughter. You must bring her back to me in 3 days, or it will cost you your head." "What have you done?" the father yelled in a rage. Aladdin thought he would simply use his second wish, and the genie would bring back the princess and the castle too. But he looked everywhere for his magic lamp. It was gone. In despair, Aladdin could do nothing but to ride away from the Sultan's palace on the white horse he had ridden on. Sadly, he rode from town to town, but no one knew anything about a palace that had suddenly appeared overnight. You may wonder, where was the true princess all this time? Dressed as a servant girl, she had crept out of the palace the very day she had switched clothes with Nadia. Down to the marketplace she went, and there she met an aging merchant. The old merchant told her he was tired from riding so many years from town to town, selling his potions and perfumes. He had many customers along the way who expected him, but he yearned to rest. The princess was dressed humbly, yet she carried herself like royalty. She gained the confidence of the old merchant. When she offered to ride his camel train in his place and share what she earned with him, he was delighted. And that is how our princess found herself up, clopping through the desert, selling potions and perfumes from town to town. Back to Aladdin. 2 days passed, and he was no closer to finding his lost palace. Crouched in front of his tent, he held his head in his hands. Why the sad face? The princess, riding by, stopped her camel train. "Perhaps a potion will make you feel better." "No, thank you," said Aladdin. "The only thing that could help is if I could bring back a princess who is missing and find my palace that was lost overnight." "My goodness," said the princess, though Aladdin saw her only as a potions merchant. "How did all of this come about?" Aladdin described the golden palace that vanished along with the princess inside, and that he had but 1 day left to bring them back home, or lose his life. "Oh, this is an impossible task,"